Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 23rd to the 29th of March 2015. Now, there's not a lot of activity this week, which doesn't mean that nothing's going on, but it does mean that we've got lots of time to assimilate what has gone on. So this week, apart from the moon, no planet changes sign or turns direct to retrograde or retrograde to direct. So on the surface of it, it looks like a very quiet week. But we're coming out of a very intense time, a very intense couple of weeks. So this is a good time to take stock and to slow down and to actually assimilate and learn what we've learned on a cellular level and begin to apply it. So to begin with, we've just stepped up and over the sacred threshold, which is the spring equinox, and there's been a lot of activity going on around this point being the place in the zodiac where we go from Pisces, the last sign, up and over, lighter and brighter, into Aries to start a new cycle on the spiral. The spring equinox actually takes us from the 21st to the 24th of March, so we're not really finishing that phase until Tuesday, when we can begin to set some new intentions. So we had the Sun, Moon, Mercury and Uranus all in Aries at this point. So that's a lot of energy in that first sign. And Aries loves to take life force energy, to direct it, to push ahead, to make a plan and to rage forwards. But until Wednesday, I feel that we're still in that holding space. It's like the held breath. There's no need to push forwards just yet, but we can take all of that energy and internalize it and regenerate ourselves. So it's refreshing and rejuvenating and regenerating energy with those four main aspects at the first degrees of Aries. Really beautiful. Really strong energy there. It's the cells in our body. The sun represents the life force energy in our body, the light, the warmth in our blood, and that's all being rejuvenated at the moment. So a very, very fresh start to the week, and just to allow all of that to sink in. But like I say, there's not a lot of activity, so everything's going on in the background. We've come out of the Pluto-Uranus square, the last one, and I've spoken quite a lot about this, but we've let what's old and establishment and corrupt and everything, we've let all of the false beliefs and all of the false structures slowly deconstruct, but without fear. Because Uranus in Aries has said we need to think differently, we need to be differently, and we need to step up to the plate and actually create from a different space. So we're in that realm now with Uranus in Aries, very much like the Fool card in Tarot, older and wiser from the last cycle, but completely cleansed and having lost all the density, so that we're ready and optimistic and energized to go on a new journey. So that Pluto-Uranus square has done its thing, and whatever went needed to go, and whatever's coming in, we don't need to bring it in, because it's our state of being and our belief systems and our actual emotional higher connection and our spiritual connection that will actually attract the new changes that are coming towards us. So the spring equinox there, coming to fullness around Tuesday, and then by Wednesday we can start to make those intentions. Now, when we're learning astrology, it can be a bit overwhelming, but I do recommend that anybody that's interested start now, because with this much energy in the first sign of the zodiac, you get to live the cycle. So you get to learn what Aries is by being in it, by observing it, by actually experiencing it. So if we start a journey of learning astrology in the month of Aries at the spring equinox, you're actually walking in time with the cycles. So within a year you'll have actually walked around the entire zodiac and learnt it on an intuitive level and experienced it. So you can actually learn astrology that way without the use of a single book, by just stepping in time with these planetary bodies. If you do want to learn astrology, I recommend that you get your chart. Well, I recommend that everybody gets your chart. So go to my Get Your Chart video on my Learn Astrology playlist, and if you don't know your time of birth, then just use midday. because this is the plan that you made. You waited till the planets were in this position in order that you'd come through and have this vibrational signature, this composite symphony of energies. So if you do get your chart and you just have it around you and you just meditate on it like a mandala, then some of that will just come back to you. It's like remembering what you wanted to know rather than having to learn astrology from the outside in. So I do recommend that you go and get your chart, even if you don't intend to take things any further, because at least know your moon sign. Everybody knows what star sign they are. They say, I'm star sign Leo or Sagittarius or whatever, and that's where the sun was when you were born. But to know the moon sign, that's the yin part of your energy, and you are actually both of those signs and a lot more. So you may be a Leo, but you may have a Cancer moon, and that really tempers that Leo. That makes it more quiet and reflective and insular. So the sun sign is our life force energy, often with an outward expression, and the moon sign is our inner subconscious world, our tides and our emotions, our thoughts and our feelings. So at least get those two and start to learn that other side of yourself, because that's plenty to be going on with. And then, like I say, you can walk round the zodiac from Aries right through to Pisces next year, monitoring the sun's motion, monitoring the different moon cycles, and actually picking up a lot of this knowledge without even trying very hard. If you know your moon sign and you want to explore a little bit deeper, then you can start to add up how many planets you've got in earth, air, fire and water. It's a really nice exercise to do, to just see your elemental balance there. So if somebody's lacking in water, then that's an area of yourself that you need to work on a little bit more. And this is a really good, in combination with tarot, this is a really good study, because the fire is the passion, the wands, the will. The earth is the resources of the discs, the air is the mental processes of the swords, and the water is the emotion and the intuition of the cups. So those four suits are directly related in the tarot and the astrology. So you can get your chart and you can just do a count up. How many things have I got in fire, earth, air and water? And if one of them's lacking, then you can put some attention to that part of yourself, see if you can work to bring that out more. So that's a good exercise to do as well. So a couple of things there, how to learn astrology without having to fully engage. But obviously if you do want to fully engage, then please talk to me, because this is a great time of year to start to make a plan forwards and to start to really get to know astrology and how it applies to your life. I'm also running a series of workshops where we're looking at astrology in the body, so astrology as it applies to yoga and dance and healing. So a couple of workshops coming up, yoga, astrology and the body, where we can learn our inner zodiac and our inner energies and how to apply that to make our physical practice and our spiritual practice a lot deeper, and to connect more with the moon cycles, the full moon, the new moon and the dark moon as well. So although there's not a lot of energy, well, there's plenty of energy, but there's not a lot of change going on this week, we can actually start to make those changes by Wednesday by embracing a new course of study and a new way of applying universal principles to our life, and to actually learn and to grow as the sun walks around the zodiac. But to have a look at what's been going on and to assimilate some more of that, we've got all this energy, like I say, in Aries. But we've also got the Saturn retrograde, and this is working in the background because all the close planets spin around, they change sign really often, and we start to feel those energies inside of us. We can feel the climate change, but with the further planets they take longer. So Saturn is retrograde until August, so we've got a chance now to really study that. And Saturn is the lessons, it is the pupil that's actually learning to go back to that core strength and to build that structure. So with Saturn currently retrograde until August, we've got a chance to explore that side of ourselves. And Saturn is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the wise one. So we've got a chance to go back and visit universal wisdom. We've got a chance to go back and align with the truth. We've got a chance to actually explore our relationship with time, with astrology, with the planets, with the universe, and with old wisdom, and reconnect with that. So it's a really beautiful and gentle aspect when Saturn goes inwards, and we take those lessons in and we become our own teacher, and we do the lessons daily. So we can work with that all the way through to August. We're also coming up to Jupiter turning direct. So Jupiter is currently in Leo and will go into Virgo in the summer. But Jupiter in Leo has been a major part of this spring. It's our sovereignty and our majesty, and where we take ourselves and we become bigger, because we clear away a lot of space, a lot of things that need to go, and we make room for that expansion inside. So with Jupiter turning direct in April, we're coming towards the end of a retrograde phase, and this has been to go in and explore our inner expansion and our inner sovereignty and who we really are, despite everything that we're told and everything that seems to be going on the outside, to clear away a lot of the debris, a lot of the disinformation and a lot of the old, outdated belief systems, and to step into that space. So that's a really good thing to do right now, as we're in this held breath of the spring equinox, to really honour that part of ourselves, the fact that we are divine, the fact that we are sparks of life that are connected to all that is. And even though life can seem to crush us down and limit us and make us think inside a little box and have a story and a narrative, this is a time to just blow all of that out of the water and get back into the connection with your uniqueness and who you really are. Neptune is spending a lot of time in Pisces, and this is our spiritual connection, the higher feminine. It's the tuning fork that just knows on a resonant cellular level what the truth is. So there's not a lot of outreach and learning and striving and searching going on. All we need to do is clear that space with Jupiter, realise our magnificence, and then feel into it and feel more connected and more in tune with life. So that's a very long, slow, ongoing process. And Chiron is in there as well, which is the false belief that we're separate and we're victims. We can be rejected and abandoned and we're alone and we need to struggle to survive. We can overcome that with the Neptune connection and realise that we are actually part of a huge consciousness. We have actually chose to be here. We have actually probably over-personalised many of our emotional memories from the past and built upon them until we're stuck in a story of poor me. But with Chiron and Neptune together, we can break free from that paradigm as well and actually realise it's okay just to be you. It's okay to feel that deeper connection, and it's okay to get rid of the struggle and survival, which is merely a thought form, and to go and cleanse a lot of those false memories or built up retentions, over-personalizations. Go and clear those away, and again step into that resonant majesty. So a lot of the outer planets, as you can see, are actually working on a very, very soulful level in the background, often overlooked when there's a lot of energy in the week and we're making the necessary adjustments with Venus and Mars and Mercury, and we're kind of running to keep up with all of that differing weather. We don't have any of that this week, so we've got a time to just assimilate everything that's gone on in the past couple of weeks, cleanse and step over the threshold, but also maybe turn our attention to the deeper matters, to our core strength, to our divinity, and to our attunement to the divine, and to clearing away any stories that are built up in those realms, so that we're really stepping into our power. So a lovely gentle week. It can affect everybody in different ways, so if somebody out there does have a busy week, it's because these planets are all making connections with something that's going on in your birth chart and bringing that up for review. But on the surface of it, a very calm week, everything working in the background, holding the space, clearing away and getting ready to step over the threshold and walk into a new cycle where everything is at our disposal to start to learn the deeper way that all these planetary activities work, to honour the cycles, to step into that view of time, and to become more connected with the way that everything is in a expanding spiral rather than an ever contracting box of mental prison. So a liberating, uplifting, full card kind of a week. Let's jettison everything that's not coming forwards and make ourselves bigger and brighter, and then step forward with awe and optimism to see what we're bringing in the next cycle. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week. So if you would like to engage more with astrology or tarot or numerology, then please do check out my online courses. They're available globally because there are video and some notes and some email access, so that you can do this wherever you are in the world. And they're very reasonably priced. The small modules are just £30 and the big course is £50 a month, which builds, I walk with you around the cycle and help you to apply that knowledge and to root it on earth and within yourself, and to have it make intuitive sense. So all of those courses there are available to everybody, and like I say, this is a great time to learn all of this ancient knowledge. And then coming up this week, I have the Yoga, Astrology and the Body workshop, which will be at Fierce Grace North on Sunday the 29th. So for anybody in the healing and the yoga and the dance and the well-being and even nutrition industry, then please do come along to that, because we can learn how the actual zodiac runs through the body, how each of the different signs stores stress in different places, and how we can actually use certain postures at certain times for a greater release and sense of well-being. So this really deepens your practice, and it makes everything make sense, so that you'll know that you're putting the right class together or the right treatment together for that vibrational being, and also working with the cycles of time. So that's Fierce Grace North on Sunday the 29th, if you'd like to email me for details. So have a beautiful week. Be still, be deep, consider the bigger things in life. See if you can get off the wheel. No need to go round and round in circles when we honour these initiation points. And we have gone through quite an initiation over the last couple of weeks. So let's honour that, let's expand ourselves, and let's embrace the cycle that approaches.